Peace, everybody. I hope that you guys had a marvelous week and that your February is going along so great. I pray that you are filled with love as we approach this celebratory day of love we call Valentine's Day. Before I go any forward, I want you to know that God loves you and that when somebody loves you, they remind you of the things you need to live and be all that you should be. I'm glad that we do have people in our lives that remind us that we should smile, that remind us that we should think about the good things, that remind us to keep our attitudes and our mentality about life focused on all things good. Because where things are good, there is God. And so I think that we should thank God for those parents that let us know, those friends that let us know, those people at church and in the neighborhood and everywhere who love and think of us enough to remind us to keep our mind focused on the good things. That's what Paul did. That is what the Apostle Paul in the Bible, that character, that person who worked for Jesus Christ in the Bible, that wrote so many books in the New Testament, that is what Paul says and does in Philippians chapter 4 when he reminds this church of Philippi, the church of Philippi, kind of like Mount Moriah Baptist Church or many churches today, but they were one of the first churches, and Paul says to them, rejoice in the Lord always. And let me remind you again, rejoice. He didn't say rejoice just one time. He let them know a second time that you need to have joy. And sometimes we need a reminder to have joy. What is joy? Joy is a state, a time of life where you feel excitement and wonderful things. Joy is we can feel and think about the good things even when we might be having a bad day. And he says, I understand that because you are who you are, following God, waking up every day, doing the amazing things that you are doing for the Lord, you need to rejoice in the Lord. And don't forget again, rejoice. And we, even in Black History Month, y'all, we can think about some people along history that had joy and sometimes had to remind themselves again, rejoice. We think about Black history figures like Harriet Tubman, who through the Underground Railroad freed so many slaves. She went back into the South, trip and trip after again, even when things were dangerous, even when things were so scary. She had a desire for her and her people to be free. Why? Because she had joy even when all of those things were going on. We think about Barack Obama, the first Black president of the United States of America, who had to go through many trials and tribulations to not only get the position of president, but be in the position of president and then be elected. What? Twice. I'm sure he had to remind himself twice, like Paul did, I need to what? Rejoice. And so you, my lovely friends, as you go forward on your days and you look into tomorrow, I want you to know that you can rejoice. Like those Black history figures, like that church that Paul was speaking to, that we can believe and love the God of joy that allows us to express ourselves with joy. Peace, y'all. And don't forget to rejoice in the Lord always. And when you forget, again, rejoice.